Welcome to Tales from the Pillow, a calm place for unsettling stories. If you enjoy the quiet dread before sleep, subscribe and let the stories keep you company in the dark. You ever take a job just because you're tired of everything else? Not because you need the money, though I did. Not because it's your dream, because it isn't. Just because you're so worn down by everything else that when something strange shows up, you say yes out of sheer exhaustion. That's how I ended up working the night shift at the Rose Hill Hotel. It started with a flyer, one of those cheap single-page things pinned to a corkboard at the back of a 24-hour laundromat. No logo, no contact number, just bold black text on yellow paper. Night clerk wanted, Rose Hill Hotel, midnight to 6 a.m., cash paid weekly, inquire in person. And an address. I tore it off and drove straight there. It was already dark by the time I found the place. Hidden behind a row of pines just off Route 7, the Rose Hill looked like it had been forgotten by the rest of the world. 3 stories of pale brick, every window dark but one. A red neon vacancy sign buzzed faintly behind fogged glass. There were no other cars in the lot. I thought maybe I had the wrong place, but the moment I stepped out of my car, the front door creaked open, like it had been waiting. The lobby was all wood and velvet, old carpet, dim light. It smelled like cedar and something faintly sweet, and maybe lavender or dusted cinnamon. A desk sat at the back wall, heavy and dark, with a brass service bell that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. The woman behind it didn't look up right away. She was writing something in a large leather-bound book. When she did lift her head, she smiled, small and formal, like someone trained to do it, but not really feeling it. "You're early," she said. "That's good." I hadn't said why I was there yet. "You're here about the night position?" I nodded. She pushed a clipboard toward me. No application, no interview, just a name line, and below it, a list of checkboxes confirming availability for overnight shifts and willingness to work alone. I filled it out. She slid a manila envelope across the counter. "My name is Ms. Delaney," she said. "I'm the general manager. You won't see much of me after this. I work days. You'll be the only one on site overnight." I asked if there was any training. She smiled again. "Everything you need is in that envelope." That was it. No handshake, no ID badge. She walked me to the back door, handed me a ring of old brass keys, and told me to be at the desk by 11:50 p.m. the following night. Then she said something that stuck with me ever since. "Follow the rules," she said. "If anything feels wrong, trust the rules first. Trust your instincts second, nothing else." I opened the envelope in my car. There were 2 items inside, a faded welcome letter on Rose Hill Hotel stationery and a single sheet of typed instructions. The top line read, "Midnight shift, standard operating procedures." But beneath that were 7 bullet points that didn't make any sense. I'll write them exactly as they appeared. 1. Never assign room 217. It is permanently out of service. If a guest requests it, tell them it's under renovation. Do not give further explanation. 2. The lobby phone will ring between 1 a.m. and 1:10 a.m. Answer on the 3rd ring. Say only, "Yes." Hang up immediately afterward. Do not speak further. 3. If the elevator dings and no one steps out, do not approach. Wait exactly 30 seconds before resuming movement. 4. You may notice your reflection behaving strangely. The mirror in the lobby is decorative only. Avoid extended eye contact. 5. After 3:33 a.m., you may hear someone knock from the office supply closet. There is no supply closet. Do not attempt to locate it. 6. If you see a child in the hallway after 4 a.m., do not engage. Walk away. Do not acknowledge them, no matter what they say. 7. Before ending your shift, check the guest book. If your name appears on the page for the following night, you are no longer required to report to work. Contact Ms. Delaney. I read the sheet 3 times. I didn't know whether to laugh or be nervous. It felt like a test, like something they handed out to weed out the superstitious or the easily spooked. And I'll admit, I almost crumpled it up right then. But the thing was, I needed this job. I had $46 to my name and nowhere to be by the end of the week. I was sleeping in my car. I hadn't spoken to my sister in 2 years. I didn't have anyone to call if this turned out to be a prank. And deep down, I think I was just too tired to care. I arrived the next night just before midnight. The lobby was exactly as I'd left it. Same quiet air, same faded carpet. The brass key hooks lined the back wall, each one labeled in hand-painted numbers. I found the key labeled desk and unlocked the drawer. Inside was a leather-bound guest book, a pen, a room assignment ledger, and the phone. Black, rotary, resting on a doily that hadn't been washed in years. I sat behind the desk and waited. At exactly 1:06 a.m., the phone rang. 1, 2, 3. I picked it up. Yes! Click. The line went dead. No voice, no static, just silence. I hung up. I stared at the phone for a long time. That was the first rule. The others would come later, but that's how it began. With a phone call, a manager I barely met, and a list of rules I still don't understand. I've followed them every night until the last one, but I'll get to that. There's something about working nights that messes with your sense of time. At first I tried to stay sharp, brought a thermos full of gas station coffee, kept a notebook of weird details, played old podcasts to stay awake. But the hotel had a way of softening your edges. The longer you sat still, the more the silence filled in around you, like water around a stone. And slowly I started to drift, not into sleep, just into the rhythm of the place. The Rose Hills routine was quiet, almost too quiet. Most nights passed without a single guest checking in, and yet, somehow, there was always evidence that someone had been there. Keys returned to the hook without anyone coming to the desk, lights left on in rooms that hadn't been assigned, elevator doors opening at the wrong time. I got used to the phone ringing at exactly 1:06 a.m. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Click. Every night, never a voice, just that precise, almost mechanical breathing on the other end, like something waiting to hear if I remembered my line. It took me longer to see the elevator for what it was. One night, I was restocking the complimentary coffee station when I heard the bell ding. I looked over and saw the doors sliding open. Nobody there. I waited, 10 seconds, 20. I took one step toward it and stopped. Rule 3. If the elevator dings and no one steps out, do not approach. Wait 30 seconds before resuming movement. I stood perfectly still, the cheap styrofoam cup halfway to the trash. 30 seconds passed. The doors shut. I didn't even breathe until they did. By my second week, I developed a system. I checked the guest book at the start of every shift, even though most names didn't seem to correspond to anyone I actually saw. I pre-filled coffee. I kept my phone fully charged but never used it after midnight. The hallway lights sometimes dimmed for a full minute, during which I stayed seated. I learned to stop wondering why things happened and started asking myself only one question. Did I follow the rule? That was enough, for a while. My first real scare came during my third week. It was just past 3:30 a.m. I was behind the desk, reviewing the ledger, when I heard a knock from the hallway behind me. Not from the guest entrance, not from the front doors, from the office supply closet. 3 knocks. The problem is, there is no supply closet, not on any floor plan I've seen, not in the building schematics Ms. Delaney left for me on my first shift. I stared at the hallway. The noise didn't come again, but then I heard something worse. Breathing, close, wet, like something just behind the wall was breathing directly into it. I stood up, heart pounding, and almost walked toward the sound. Then I remembered Rule 5. I sat back down. The breathing faded after a few minutes, but the wall stayed warm to the touch for the rest of the night. Sometimes the weirdest things are the smallest ones, like the night I noticed my reflection wasn't blinking. I'd only glanced at the mirror above the fireplace for a second, enough to smooth my hair or check how tired I looked, but something felt off, so I looked again. And there I was, same hoodie, same slump in the shoulders, only I wasn't blinking, at all. I raised a hand, so did he, but it was a beat too slow, like watching a video on delay. I turned away and haven't looked again since. The mirror, per the rules, is decorative only. Then came the child. It was 4:12 a.m. I was walking the second floor with my flashlight just to stretch my legs when I saw her. Barefoot, brown hair, pale pajamas, maybe 6 years old. She was standing at the end of the hallway near room 209, facing the wall. I froze. Rule 6. Do not engage, do not acknowledge, walk away. I tried, I really did. But she turned. Her head moved before her body. Her face was too smooth, like a doll's left out in the rain. Her mouth opened like she was about to speak. I turned and walked. Not fast, not slow, just steady, like every nerve in my body was being held by strings. I didn't breathe until I reached the stairs, and even then, I swear I heard little feet following, just for a few steps. Despite all this, I kept coming back. Why? Because in some messed up way, the Rose Hill started to feel like the only place that made sense. During the day, I was invisible, to the world, to myself. But at night, here, I had purpose, a set of rules, a rhythm, something to keep the cold at bay. It was comforting, until it wasn't. One night, a man came in around 2:30 a.m. He looked wrong, not sick, not injured, just wrong, like a wax figure that had been melted and remolded. He had too many teeth and none of them showed when he spoke. He asked for room 217. I froze. "I'm sorry," I said. "That room's under renovation." He didn't argue, just nodded and left. But when I checked the hook an hour later, the key to room 217 was gone, and it never came back. There's something about this place that changes you. It's not just the rules, it's the way you start to feel like the hotel is noticing you, like when the air changes in a room you thought was empty, or when you walk past a mirror and your reflection mouths something you didn't say, or when your name starts showing up in the guest book under rooms you haven't assigned. That happened last night. A. Thorne, room 309, 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I didn't write it, I never even saw the guest, but when I went to check the room, it was warm, lived in. The pillow was indented and the bathroom mirror was fogged, as if someone had just stepped out of the shower. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this, but then again, maybe I don't have a choice. 3 days before my last shift, Ms. Delaney called me. It was mid-morning, I'd just woken up. The phone rang once and stopped, then again. On the third ring, I answered. "You need to come in early," she said, no greeting. Just that soft, clipped voice I'd come to associate with dim light and velvet carpet. "There's one more rule, one I didn't think you'd need to know." I waited for more. "You'll understand when you get here," she said. 10 o'clock. Click. She didn't ask if I could make it. She didn't give me a choice. I arrived at 9:55 p.m. The lot was empty. The building looked darker than usual, like the bulbs had all dimmed just enough to make you second guess what you were seeing. The lobby door was unlocked, but no one was inside. Not Ms. Delaney, not a guest, not even a whisper of movement. The front desk light was already on. There was a fresh sheet of paper sitting where the guest book should have been. It read, "Thank you." That was it. 2 words centered on the page, typed on Rose Hill Hotel letterhead. I checked behind the desk. The list of rules was gone. The key ledger was empty. No guest book, no log, no room keys, just the desk, the chair, and me. I waited until midnight. The phone didn't ring. The elevator didn't ding. There were no knocks, no breathing, no lights flickering in rhythm. The hotel wasn't doing anything, like it was waiting for me. At 12:17 a.m., I opened the drawer below the desk. Inside was a manila folder. My name was written on the tab, A. Thorne. I opened it slowly, expecting old pay stubs or some final exit paperwork. What I found was a list, typed, numbered, but the paper was blank past rule number 1. There was only one line. 1. Never assign room 217. I stared at it, and then beside the folder I saw something else. A pen, and another blank sheet of hotel stationery, waiting. It hit me all at once. There was no final rule. There never was. There was just the next list, and I was the one expected to write it. Because the hotel doesn't stop. Not for me, not for Ms. Delaney, Not for anyone who's ever manned this desk. It just replaces us, one by one. It trains us, conditions us, teaches us to follow instructions, to obey, and once it knows we've learned every rule, it hands us the pen. I didn't know what to do. I should have walked out, burned the place down, driven off into the woods, and never looked back. But I sat down, and I started to write. I wrote the rules exactly as I remembered them. I didn't even need to think. My hand moved on its own. By 1 a.m., I had all 7, and I paused. The folder was still open, the paper still blank. So I kept writing. 8. If the phone rings after 5 a.m., do not answer. It's not for you. 9. You may see yourself checking in. Do not interfere. Let the shift play out. 10. If a new employee arrives, smile. Say nothing about the rules. Let the hotel tell them. I stopped there, shaking. The hotel was silent. At 2:42 a.m., I heard the front door open. I turned around slowly. A man stood there, maybe mid-20s, hoodie, jeans, eyes too tired for someone that young. He stepped forward and cleared his throat. "Hey, I saw a flyer about a night job." I looked down at the page in front of me, at the new rules I had written, at the empty lines that stretched past them. I folded the paper, tucked it neatly into a fresh envelope from the drawer, and I smiled. "Of course," I said. "You're early. That's good." I handed him the envelope, just like Ms. Delaney had handed one to me. "Everything you need is in there." He didn't ask questions. He signed the paper on the clipboard, took the key ring, thanked me, and walked out through the back door to begin his first shift tomorrow. It's been 3 nights since then. I don't go home anymore. The hotel doesn't want me to, not yet. Every morning I check the guest book, and every morning my name is still there, but it doesn't say front desk anymore. It's just one word: rules. I still don't know what the Rose Hill is. Not really. A haunted place, a trap, a test. Maybe it's not a hotel at all. Maybe it's just a story that needs a new author every now and then. So, if you ever find yourself checking in, if you ever hear a knock on a door that isn't there, if you ever find a typed envelope with your name on it, follow the rules and don't ask why, don't ask who wrote them, just read carefully, and for God's sake, don't add a new one unless you absolutely have to.